Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel for another video on Marvel Contest of Champions. This is one of those rumour, speculation, discussion and other piddly other crap that's associated when someone posts something at the art director Gabe and we all go, interesting. Let's take a deeper dive to see what that is and kind of create some structure. Could this be this? Could this be that? Let's try and explain what I'm trying to explain. Our story begins with a conversation that myself and Otrix had when we were kind of talking about the idea of like, well, this here, he said like about this image, and I was like, do you know what? Yeah, that's an old school image that. But he was like, well, the image here, like the top one, who is that? And the bottom one, I was like, who is that? First I was like, oh, is that a new character that could be coming into the game or one that maybe wasn't in? And he said, no, if you look closely with the lines and the way the boots look, it's the collector. And I went, oh yeah. But he said, that's not important. And I went, yeah, that's right. The top one, the top image is the most important one because we're like, well, who or what is that? And again, just to reiterate, this is the placeholder, the old placeholder for what used to be in game for Act 3, the kind of the end game type thing. So I was like, is this got any kind of relevance to it? And bringing this all into a discussion point that myself and Otrix were talking was based on this tweet here. Basilio tweeted at Gabe, the art director for Kabam, and said, well, what's the story behind this image here? As you see, there's like two eyes with like the stars are, and then it kind of creates some sort of image that comes from the Comic-Con trailer. It's a very quick image, but you can see a character that emerges from over the top of the Collector and Thanos. And this trailer is like 4.5 years old. Now it's long been my thought that this is actually meant to be you as a player controlling what happens in the battle realm. And that's something that, again, will open up to interpretation, speculation, and what you think in a comment section below for this. But it has got a response from Gabe on the subject. He simply says, that's too early. That's the end game right there. Now, I don't think it's like end game as in end of Act 6 and the kind of this story arc, but the end game, and not end game as in the cinema release that's coming out this year. There's a lot of end games. It's more than likely this here, this end game. It kind of factors into the image because it doesn't really kind of show Maestro. And yeah, it was a placeholder back in the day as we were talking about that image. As you can see right here, you've got the Collector, and then up the top, you've got Maestro. The outline doesn't look exactly the same. It does look very much kind of a, well, clean shaven type look, or kind of like humanoid. In some ways it does look a bit like Silver Surfer, but let's face it, it's definitely not Silver Surfer. Now I tried to go back to have a look to see if there was any kind of clues or kind of pointers in something going in a different direction, and also obviously as we've seen in game that placeholder changed to Maestro. But at what point did it, and what point is it saying it's a build-up point of that story process of getting there? And also, could it be something that Kabam could alter in the future? Like, I don't know, creating that this image behind us is actually something like the Elder of Time, the Living Tribunal, maybe even Galactus. And also very early on, was that a case that could have been Silver Surfer? These are still things that could still change in time. Do bear in mind that the way that Gabe came across in a recent interview was that the Fantastic Four have always been there in some state. They've just not been seen, but they are written into the story, into the background. They've got their own stories, their own problems they've got to overcome to get back to the contest. And as you know, the things in the contest and the others will follow suit very shortly. And more than likely, it's just a hoop-la-di-da about nothing, but also bear in mind that there's always subtle little kind of hints that stuff can be altered to kind of go, hey, well, they've actually been here, that's been there, and that's been something you should have considered, but you didn't. As we know with a lot of things that, you know, Kabam write with the stories. I would personally love the idea of an elder watching over things, going, well, what the hell is going on? Is there something that they would intervene? Would this be death? Would this be the living tribunal rather than an elder of some kind? Could this even be a character like Father Time? And we were kind of thinking about the puzzle video and the fact that, well, there's a question mark next to Captain America World War II. Maybe. My personal thought is that I don't think this is actually anything apart from that particular promo video for New York Comic Con. Though in Kabam's way of changing things a little bit with the kind of the subtle teases, this could easily be manipulated in the future. So they could create this as some sort of like, hey, well, this is a good link to this. The same way when you're doing a film and kind of going, when you do a sequel, that you're mentioning or kind of touching upon the events of the previous sequel. Unless it's Transformers and you're then like, God, you're just making things up as you go along. But in any case, they're not doing that. They are going back to the old stuff and kind of padding in little things to make everything link and go to the way it's meant to start and end. So that's a good process. But in any case, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on that particular tweet, the response by Gabe on the subject? Are you for this? Do you think that it's a case they're creating some sort of story? And we'll touch upon this as they've done before, or will they just go, yeah, no, there's no kind of like correlation here. That was just a New York Comic Con thing. That's obviously you controlling what's going on in the battle realm rather than, say, the Collector and Thanos. Or do you think it's something more? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more Marvel Contest of Champions based content. Join us on the Discord server. We're going to link in the description, drop into a live stream, and I shall catch you in the next one. Bye bye for now.